What's up everybody, Brett Medlock here, and today I wanted to talk about, once again, the PlayStation Vita and where it's at in 2018, and of course, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk about how awesome the PlayStation Vita is, but mainly what I'm going to talk about is why I think 2018 is the year you should finally buy a Vita if you haven't. Part 1, the games. As I've said before, the PlayStation Vita is still receiving a pretty good amount of games. Obviously, a lot of them aren't exclusive games, but does that really matter? I mean, you can still play them on the go, and that's what always speaks to me the most. So some of the games that I'm looking forward to are the Persona dancing games, and yes, some people might scoff at that because it's a dancing game, but you know what? These games are actually really fun, awesome rhythm games, and they actually have unique stories set in the Persona universe. One thing I love about the Persona series is the stories that you get from them, and I'm super looking forward to these games. They're being developed by the same team that did Persona 4 Dancing All Night that hit PlayStation Vita back in 2015. There currently aren't many details on the games, but there are trailers that show off some awesome stuff in them, so you should go check those out if you're interested. Another game that I'm personally super excited for because I love this developer is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm looking at it right now, and that's what I think it might be. But this is the next Vanillaware game, and if you know them, you know they make fantastic games. They developed Muramasa that were originally released on the Wii, and then a special edition called Muramasa Rebirth came to the PlayStation Vita a while back, and it's one of my favorite games on the Vita. So addicting, such awesome gameplay. And then of course they went on to bring Dragon's Crown, which a lot of people loved. I didn't like it as much as Muramasa, but then when Odin Sphere came to Vita, it was my new love. And once again, it's one of my favorite games on the Vita. Vanillaware seriously knows what they're doing. The games are so artistic and so beautiful, and they're with their 2D art style that it's impossible not to just stop and look at the scenery when you're playing them. So I don't know much about 13 Sentinels, but I think it looks really awesome, and I don't think it's really an action game like Muramasa and Odin Sphere, but I trust them with whatever they decide to do, with whatever direction they decide to go in. The next game I'm really looking forward to is Catherine Full Body. Is releasing on PS4 and PlayStation Vita. I loved Catherine on PS3. I thought the puzzles were super fun. I think it was really challenging, which ultimately just leads to a greater experience. Yes, you get mad, but I actually heard that they're making this version slightly easier, which will appeal to a lot of people because a lot of people did not like the challenge of Catherine on PS3. This one also brings in a third Catherine, who I believe is transgender, and that takes the main character by surprise. So that's going to probably lead to some funny scenarios. And the game also has new cutscenes, new endings, new events, and there'll be new gameplay mechanics implemented as well. Super looking forward to this. Atlas, they know what they're doing. If you're a fan of the Persona stories, then you're probably going to love this Atlas title as well. Be sure to check it out when it makes its way to Vita and PS4 later this year. And finally, a big heavy hitter is Stardew Valley is still supposedly making its way to Vita. Don't hold me to that, but the developer said that it is still coming to our favorite handhelds. And hopefully it does, because this game took the world by storm. I haven't even played it yet because I've been holding out for the Vita version, but it looks right up my alley because I love games like Animal Crossing, so this looks like it's going to scratch that itch on my PlayStation Vita. I'm really hoping this one makes its way to Vita because we have already had some canceled games that were originally supposed to come to the Vita, and hopefully that isn't the case with this game. Rest in peace, the Banner Saga Vita version is all I gotta say to that. But yeah, there's more games. Those are the ones I'm looking forward to the most. I'll put the full list of 2018 games to look forward to. There's games like Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, as well as Shakedown Hawaii, Rainbow Skies, Mercenary Kings just came out. It's still a fine year for the Vita. With that, let's head over to part 2. Part 2 to this video is the backlog of Vita Gems that you may have missed because you never owned the handheld. The PlayStation Vita has got some seriously incredible games over the past 6 years, and while a handful of them have made their way to PlayStation 4, there are still some games that you can only play on the PlayStation Vita. And one of those games is Freedom Wars. If you're a fan of Monster Hunter or any type of game like that, then I think Freedom Wars is going to be right up your alley. It's all about building your character's stats and playing some seriously fun third-person hack and slash gameplay mixed in with some third-person shooting. It's a lot of fun. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm still hoping that one day it makes its way to PS4. You never know. Another gem I had spoke about previously is Muramasa Rebirth. As I was saying, it's arguably one of the most visually impressive games on PlayStation Vita. It doesn't push the hardware anything like Killzone Mercenary, but it showcases a gorgeous 2D art style that will have you in awe. Muramasa is a must-play game in my opinion, and the only way to play it right now is on the Wii and on the Vita, two things that aren't played very much nowadays. That's unfortunate, but it's true. But the breathtaking art style, extra content, and top-notch gameplay make Mirror Mouse and Rebirth one of the best PlayStation Vita games to date. On a much smaller note, there's a game called Actual Sunlight that really spoke to me personally because of how real it was with its writing. Actual Sunlight is a game that might leave you feeling sad or depressed, but I think there's something special about the game that's capable of invoking such feelings. This short indie title covers depression, anxiety, in an extremely well manner. It's different because throughout the game you're trying your hardest to like the main character, but he continues to point out his flaws and slowly leads to you thinking, wait, this guy's just a douchebag. Yet you feel for him every step of the way because no one is perfect, so you can easily relate to the main protagonist. On a real note, we all think horrible things that we're way too afraid to say out loud, and I commend Will O'Neill, who wasn't afraid to say many things that all of us think on a daily basis. In other words, if you need a good cry, Actual Sunlight may help you out with that. Also, the game was available on PlayStation Plus a while back, so maybe you have it in your download queue and you don't even know it. Another Vita gem I want to talk about is Valhalla that I recently reviewed for the channel. If you want, you can go check that out. I'll try and link it up in the top right corner right now. Valhalla is a fantastic narrative game that recently came to the Vita. You play as a bartender named Jill who meets various types of people during her job in a dystopian downtown bar. When talking to these people, you're told entertaining stories and you get to know their interesting views on each character. Whether it's their personal beliefs, their attitudes, or what grinds their gears, the writing is done extremely well and you're constantly engaged with the conversation. And yes, what I just said may or may not be stripped right out of my review, but it's a really great game. It was one of the last great Vita games that came to the handheld last year. If you're a fan of visual novels or you've never really given one a chance, I think this is one of the first visual novels someone should play because it implements like cool mixing mechanics that you have to do with the alcohol and whatnot. There's two more Vita games I want to talk about, and I think they're the most important of the bunch. One of them is obviously Persona 4 Golden. Originally, I took a leap of faith when purchasing Persona 4 Golden. I wasn't too JRPG savvy at that time, but after jumping into Persona 4, I was instantly in love. From its charming characters to its gameplay, I lost countless hours with this game. I was completely entranced by it. I almost felt like I was living a second life while playing this game. And not only that, but it opened me up to a new genre. After playing this game, I went way down the Japanese video game rabbit hole, and I've played so many JRPGs and so many visual novels since this game. So I commend it for that. And the PlayStation Vita is the only way to play this version of the game with extra characters, content, and gameplay features. It's honestly a must-play game. I cannot stress that enough. Not only is it one of my favorite Vita games of all time, but it's actually one of my favorite video games that has ever existed. And the last game on the list is none other than Uncharted Golden Abyss, yet you can only play on the PlayStation Vita, which is pretty crazy. I'm honestly surprised that of all the Vita games that have come to the PlayStation 4 that we still haven't got this one. Uncharted Golden Abyss set the bar for what mobile games were capable of at that time, and it looks absolutely stunning. Sony's Bend Studios somehow managed to give Golden Abyss its own individual flavor without changing Uncharted's core mechanics. Drake and Sully return and continue their witty banter that we're used to. The writing is well done, and the game actually implements treasure hunting elements like we had never seen in the series before. If you want to see what the Vita is really capable of, I think playing Uncharted Golden Abyss is the game you should start off with because it really pushes the hardware. It's really gorgeous, the writing is well done, and honestly I just think it's a must-play handheld game. So those 6 Vita gems meant a lot to me, and there are tons of other titles on the platform, but if you're looking for exclusive games in particular, I think those are the ones that you should play when you pick up your Vita. Now, on to part 3. Part 3, the PS4's best friend. Cross-save. It's a feature that is insanely overlooked. This allows you to start playing games from the comfort of your couch and then take the game with you when you leave, similar to the Nintendo Switch, except on 2 different pieces of hardware. You just upload your save to the cloud and then switch from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation Vita, or vice versa. I use this feature all the time with some great games. Some of my favorite games to use it with are Valkyria Revolution, Fate Extella, the Atelier games. In other words, pretty much a lot of JRPGs offer this. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the games you might already own and not realize it. So if you've had PlayStation Plus for your PlayStation 3 or PS4 for a while, and you've been getting all the free games with that subscription, you probably own some great games that you don't even realize it. Some of those games are Jak and Daxter the Trilogy, Stealth Inc. A Clone in the Dark, Resogun, Guacamelee, Towerfall Ascension, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Hotline Miami, Spelunky, SteamWorld Dig, Rogue Legacy, Sound Shapes, Super Meat Boy, Grim Fandango Remastered, and Grand Kingdom. All of those games that you own on those systems were also available on PlayStation Vita, so if you purchase them on the PS4 or Vita via PlayStation Plus, then then you also own them on the Vita. So let's say you went and got a Vita right now. If you logged into your PSN account, you would already own all those games because you already own them on PS3 and PS4. It's another extremely overlooked feature that I think the Vita has. A lot of people might not even realize that they already have a big old Vita collection to attach to their PSN account. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Between the fantastic Vita exclusives that have released over the years, the huge catalog of PlayStation Plus games that you might already own, and the recently released or upcoming 2018 Vita games, I think now more than ever is the year you should buy a PlayStation Vita. That's all I really got to say today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Sorry if it went on a little long. I just love talking about the Vita. As you already know, be sure to look out for my Vita remote play reviews, my Vita opinion pieces, and check out my other content as well. And if you want to look outside the PlayStation world, I also have a channel called Nintendo Enthusiast and Xbox Enthusiast that you can check out. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.